Hey, so what we're going to be doing in this video is we're going to be changing the passenger door handle on a Toyota Tacoma. This is a 99, but this should apply to models, I believe, 95 to 04, and I'm going to be doing the passenger side, but this will apply to the driver's side as well. So I'm going to show you the driver's side, which I believe is an OEM part, but what we're doing is a passenger side, which I've previously replaced myself. It's an aftermarket. It's not made by Toyota or whoever Toyota commissioned to make them. The Toyota parts go for over $90. I bought this thing for a little under 10. It was, I think, $15 for both the driver and passenger. So it's a lot of savings. And this last third-party handle I had broke, and that's why I'm changing it. It lasted for about a year and a half though, and so for 10 bucks and a little bit of work for a year and a half really isn't bad, especially when you compare it to the over 90 that the Toyota part would be. This is the driver's side. I believe this is OEM. It's chrome. Usually when you buy aftermarket, you can buy either all black or with the chrome handle. I'll show you the passenger side, which is the one we're changing. This right here is the one we're changing. As you can see, I got the black and it broke, doesn't work at all. Here's the new one, and you'll see that it doesn't have the lock set, but that's because you just used the existing lock set that came with your car. Let's get started. So the first thing you're going to need to do here is you're going to have to remove this door panel to get to the handle. The thing is, there's a couple things you'll have to take off. I'll show you each of them, but you're going to need to take off the interior door handle, this armrest, and this window lever. The one thing is, be careful with the speakers. My speakers aren't attached from the panel to the door, and so I can just take the panel off. But I've seen some car models, maybe even some Toyota Tacomas, where there's a connection, there's a wire that goes from this panel to the door, and so you want to make sure you don't rip off the panel without making sure that nothing is attached beforehand. So, got a regular Phillips, take it in. We're going to take this off. Make sure to keep track of all your screws because it'll be real easy to lose them. I'm going to put them in my cup holder, but just make sure you keep track of them. And then what you're going to do is slide this forward. If you slide this forward, I think it will kind of come out. We're just going to have to be careful with that. The same Phillips will remove the two screws that hold in the armrest. Be careful not to strip these out too much. These are kind of hard to get out. Okay, this is the trickiest thing. I actually forgot about this. So at this point, I've detached the handle so it's free hanging. I've taken the armrest off. And now the only thing that's left is this window lever. And I forgot, there's a little pin in it, and that's what holds it in. And the thing is, you need to get the pin to pop out and then just remove it. So what I've done is I have a little shop towel here, and I'm pushing up. And there's a little pin in it. I had to fish it out. Now, we will take out this little pin, this little horseshoe shaped pin, and now this freely comes out. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna pop this thing off. Again, I'd be careful. I've done this before, and I know some of the pins are broken, and I don't really care about this car too much. So I'm not worried if I break a little pin, but get a flathead screwdriver, and see, it's already loose, and just slowly pry off. Well, ideally, you would take this off. I just accidentally broke it again. I've broken this before. This piece doesn't really matter. Again, I don't really care about this car, but there is a way to take this off. It's the window piece, as you can see, which just broke. I've already glued it. I'll just glue it again. It's not a problem. Okay, so that's off. And now you can see how dusty my door is. Okay, so now we're actually at the handle. There's two of these. Get a socket wrench, right? 10 millimeter right here. There's one here and there's one on the other side. What you need to be careful for is the way this door works is there's these bars and they're clipped in. Here, I'm gonna reposition the camera to show you what I'm talking about. Be careful, you have to unclip that like I just did. And then you see right here is the lock set. That's the lock set. That's going to come off. You need to take this bar off, take this bolt and the other one over here that I've already shown you off, and then you can take the whole handle off. Okay, so now I've taken both the bolts off and I've unclipped the handle from the inside, so it should just come out now. Okay, you can see it's still attached right here. That just pushes out, and I'm still holding the lock set. Okay, so here's the new one. You can see it's chrome as opposed to the black one that I had, and it will come with some new clips, so if this had broken, it wouldn't have been a big deal. This snapped right here, as you can see by the lighter colored plastic. That's what broke. This one was still fine, but this inside had broken near the keyhole. This is what's broken. And so when you use these aftermarket replacements, I would definitely recommend just telling your passenger to be a little careful, because you know, it's a cheaper part and it'll work, but they don't need to tug on it just because. Get the old lock set, right, that came with your car, put it in, and then it has the grooves, and you just slide it in. So now the lock set is in, and now you just need to make sure that you put the right rod in this and slide this clip over that rod, and same deal right here. This is difficult, so just take your time. And this one, I think it helps if you get it before putting it in the car. There's the first rod in. So I think it will help if you put the lock set in after this is already in the door. Also, make sure you get this gasket around the door. Of course, it's another level of complication. Okay, so I got it back on. Like I said, I got the rods back in where they were before I took it apart. I made sure the clip is attached to hold the rods in place. And I got the 2 bolts on the new car door handle. What I would recommend is to tighten them well, but not too tight, because there's a chance you're going to be taking this off again, and this is cheaper plastic, so I would put them on there firmly. But once you get to a pretty nice tight, I would just go ahead and stop there, and I'll show you that it works. And then I'm going to do everything I've done, obviously in reverse. When you do this, just make sure that you have all of your screws that you took out, and be careful with all these clips. I'll show you it working right now. And again, I would be careful, because the thing that broke is right about here. There's another plastic piece that holds it. Just ask your passengers to be careful and kind of do this evenly. I just want to make sure that you know how to put the window lever back on. So how the window lever works is you have this piece and it has these grooves, and the handle goes into it to use these grooves to crank the window. I got the pin back in. Now I'm going to put the washer on, and I'm just going to put it back on the door. Push it in. There you go. And now the window works just fine. The car door is completely back on. I got all the pieces back on. I've tried the sound system, so I didn't blow the speaker by being negligent. That's it. Hopefully that worked well for you. What's going to be really hard is that far bolt on the inside near the lock set of the handle. That's going to be hard to get to. Just relax, take your time, calm down, be careful, because you can break things, and those things can make it so you just have to replace more things. General rules, when you're threading in something, especially if you're unsure if it's in the threads or not, do a hand tighten and then use a tool. And just take your time, especially with your first time doing something. So hopefully that worked for you, and now your passengers can get in without you letting them in from inside. Thanks for watching.